That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about The Retreat, the latest film directed by Canadian filmmaker Pat Mills, which Quiver Distribution will be releasing May 21st, 2021.
Why don't I just describe the story first? Okay. So it is about a group of friends, 2 gay men who are a couple and 2 women who are a couple. They are headed to like an Airbnb in the woods.
In the Canadian hinterlands.
In the Canadian hinterland?
Hinterlands.
I don't know what that means.
The woods.
Oh, okay.
The isolated woods.
They're going for like a pre-wedding celebration because the male couple are getting married. Okay. Basically, we find out that there is like a clan or a hate group of people who are specifically targeting like queer people and killing them. Like they make snuff films. They have an online platform where thousands of people view these videos, and they are essentially hunting gay and lesbian people. So they capture and attack the 4 friends. They kill the 2 guys, and the 2 women are left. They're the focus of the film, Renee and Val, to sort of escape, and they successfully kill everyone and get away. The end.
Yeah, there you go. It's very truncated.
I mean, it's pretty basic, the story.
Synopses.
Which is part of my problem with it, but go ahead.
Yes, I had some issues with it, but it was overall, I was very curious about it because Pat Mills, I was a fan of his first film, Guidance, his first standalone film in 2014, where he plays that aging child star who's a drunken mess of a teacher. And then Don't Talk to Irene in 2017. And if you've seen either of those films, you will see immediately why this is a big change of pace.
Yeah.
It was written by Alyson Richards, who produced his first 2 films.
Where to begin?
What did you like about the movie?
I think the performances from all of the characters or all of the actors is strong. I think the film is well shot. There are some really there are some really cool scenes, like some aerial shots, some shots of the woods that I liked.
I think in the daylight it looks great. There are a couple extended sequences at night where it's so dark, and even after playing with adjusted settings, it was still hard to see what's going on.
Which I know sometimes like it's necessary for the story, but in general that effect drives me crazy.
Sure.
When I can barely see what's going on, it's like just make the shit black. But don't make it like so I'm squinting. But that's a small gripe, I guess.
Yeah. I like the soundtrack. Steph Copeland did the score, or some musical selections from that artist. Excellent. And of course, Ali X, whose Bitch is a song I've been a fan of for a while.
Well, let's start with the details. So Connor and Scott, the film starts with this gay couple who are about to get married, Connor and Scott. They are driving into the woods to go to this cabin, and when they arrive and start unpacking, we see that they have been attacked. Right?
No, they're attacked in the first scene.
Right. They get to the house, and as they're unpacking, the one goes missing, and the other one looks for him, and then we hear like a loud like scream, like he's been attacked.
I didn't know that they even went to the house yet. He went off into the woods. Scott goes off into the woods, and they have some banter about the first rule of Boy Scouts is you don't. And then there's a scene.
You think they just pulled off on the side of the road and went to the woods?
I don't remember now.
No, I think they went to the house because there's that Chrysler 300 parked in front of the house.
That's true.
So that's their car. So they pull. The opening scene is them driving to the house. They pull up, park, and as they're getting out of the car, the one goes to explore the woods.
Which, okay, in my mind, I think I'm auto-correcting that they would have just... Because why did he just go off into the woods?
I don't recall. It happens very quickly.
It does happen very quickly, but I
like they're getting out of the car, and then the one says says the other one's name, and he doesn't respond, so he goes to look for him, and then we hear that he's maybe been snatched.
Yeah, but why did that happen?
Okay, then the credits start. Then we see Renee and Val, and they are driving in Renee's raggedy Honda Civic Coupe, and kind of talking about their relationship. The plot synopsis of the film makes it seem like their relationship is on the rocks, but really Renee Val is moving faster than Renee wants to move. Like
Yes.
she's not ready to commit. So she's a little shaky about like moving forward. As they're driving, Renee gets a flat tire. And she sort of says like, what are we supposed to do? Like, this is why I don't even like leaving the city. And then Val, who's very calming, says like, I'm already looking at a video on how to do it. I'll figure it out. She's successful, and they proceed.
And we've already established that Renee doesn't like to deal with, like, Valerie's the more resilient one, which is established by the opening scene, her introductory scene to Renee as she can't work the coffee maker.
Right. So they stop at a gas station on their way, and it's pretty creepy because the gas station attendant, it looks like a creep, and then there is a shot of like some hunting masks that look quite menacing. Then, while I believe when Renee's in the bathroom, Val is up front attempting to pay when Aaron Ashmore, his character, he's very handsome, very put together, he approaches Val hitting on her. And Val's very kind and like accepting of his advances. When Renee shows up and says like, oh, and then Val says, this is my girlfriend, sorry. So being very polite, and then he kind of says, okay, well, you guys take care, be safe out there. And then we see like in the surveillance footage that like they're being watched as they leave the gas station. So when they get to the house, Renee and Val, they think it's strange that they see Connor in Scott's car, but they're not there. Mm-hmm. And then immediately they are like attacked and captured.
Well, not immediately. They have a little brief idyll where they go out on a walk in the woods and...
Oh, and then they see like Renee. It took me all the way out when there was like someone smoking what looked like a Black and Mild, and it's still smoking, and she picks it up with her bare hands.
She
like,
goes, do your friends smoke?
Yeah, I'm like, if you think I will pick up... That was so gross to me. And then they panic because they hear sounds and run back. Then they're captured.
They set up the dead corpse. So part of the apparatus being used to lure these gay people up here is this Airbnb that they rented from, that's owned by this gay couple, whose corpses are then set up on the couch in the living room.
I feel like my head's all over the place. But just because the story... I feel like is missing something for me, because the premise is that it's Aaron Ashmore's character and then another guy,
Rossif Sutherland, Donald Sutherland's other son. Yeah.
And then he has a lady, like I'm assuming his wife, Layna.
Played by Sinden.
So Val and Renee are separated. So Renee can see from the little place she's being held captive that Layna is doing dishes when her man comes in, and they get like a loving embrace while Renee is screaming bloody murder. And when the Layna comes in to confront her, you know, she's letting her know like it's curtains for you, ho. And then she goes, by the way, why have you not asked if your
friend?
Yeah, like that, if your friend is okay, which we can get into, but. You know, we end up witnessing Scott and Connor being killed, and it's videotaped. Then we see that they're uploading, like the bad guys are uploading it to this platform, and it's getting thousands of views. Then when Renee is able to get to Val and like untie her and they're trying to escape, we get to like a control room where we see that there are other videos of other queer people, we presume, being killed, because we can hear in the background that they're like an abomination and it's unnatural. So I think the presumption is that this little clan is targeting gay and lesbian people. Mm-hmm. There's also a member of this group, because the Airbnb was, the people who owned it were a gay male couple. And we find out that they were killed. And so one of the people in their little group says, like, you know, we already got rid of those guys. Like, why do we need to keep going? And then the other, like, is it Aaron Ashmore's character?
I think they're masked, so I can't tell who.
They killed this guy.
Yeah.
Because he's, I guess, weak, or he's not down to ride, whatever. And then that's it. Renee, like, they're able to get the upper hand on all of them. And, you know, there are some brutal kills, namely...
Rossif Sutherland and Celina Sinden's character.
Yeah, the Layna gets like a TV monitor or computer monitor like smashed on her head, and then the Sutherland guy gets like an axe to the head. The other two characters who are killed, Scott and Connor, they're like axed, but we don't see it. And then I actually forgot how Ashmore's character was killed. But let's talk about what issues we had.
To me, this feels kind of like a queersploitation film.
Yes.
I can appreciate that they're playing with relationship stereotypes, as in Connor and Scott are the committed ones, and like Connor is such a prude that he doesn't even post nude pics on Grindr, whereas the rocky relationship are the lesbians, which usually those aren't the kind of narratives and images we see and juxtaposed closely together. But a good point you brought up was that this is a pre-wedding party and there's only 4 people going.
That's a raggedy pre-wedding party.
It's sure interesting, yeah.
I think what bothered me, and it feels exploitative, is it's appealing to, I think, like, as a gay person who lives in a big city, it's appealing to maybe sort of a generalized dislike of leaving a larger city to go to a rural area.
Well, it taps into those immediate fears. Yeah.
Right, but then it doesn't explore it enough, because it's like, but these fools, like, made the reservation to go. Mm-hmm. So they selected to go to this place. And the only person who kind of complains is Renee, but that's because she's mad she got a flat tire. And she really doesn't even want to be there with Val because she feels like their relationship's moving too fast. So I feel like it's just too simple and basic. And I likened it to like the show Them. And the reason that show is so effective in producing like fear and being so menacing is that even if a person doesn't know the history between like the history of racism as it pertains to Black people in the United States, even if you didn't know that, that show establishes why this white community does not want these Black people moving in. So everything that these white characters are doing to the Black people, we can empathize and sympathize with, and it's horrific. Mm-hmm. But in this film, it just feels like, oh, so y'all just be like these white people with camo who like to hunt are just automatically killing these gay people senselessly. That wasn't enough.
Yeah, we needed to figure out why this particular pocket, because immediately I'm like, in Canada even? There's...
In 2021, like, y'all are hunting gay people in the woods for no apparent reason?
And there are just some parameters, the scope of it doesn't make sense. So it has this online community with all these, like, views going up during these snuff porn kills. But, like, that Russian film, Sleeping Beauty, we reviewed sometime over the past year. To me, it almost is like, oh, well, I guess I could see that happening in Russia. But
I might have to cut that out.
But also, from what I recall from that film, is we don't see who's doing it, so it's much more easy to keep that level of ambiguity. But we see these people, and we kind of need to know, because, by and large, people that are this homophobic, usually there's a reason for it. So I think we had also discussed thinking maybe we would see the Ashmore character like have a live-in love interest, or he
was like a closeted self-loathing homosexual who was doing this because he hates himself so much. I was 100% sure that was going to be like the twist, but it's not. They're just like for no apparent reason.
And after all its mysteries are revealed, we had a lot of conversation about Ashmore confronting Sarah Allen, Valerie, in that gas station, and parsing through the dialogue exchange, because somebody is still posing as the gay couple with the Airbnb, so leading me to assume that he's being creepy with her, saying that haven't we met before, which could be more complex than we're treating it, but the rest of the film isn't as complex as it needs to be. So I think that's why we keep coming back to that scene thinking, is he approaching her knowing that she's the lesbian that's booked to stay at this place, or is it just coincidence? And either way, how it pans out is kind of a problem. I wanted it to be like another Canadian film we reviewed, Violation, where it has that gray zone, and that it also set out in the woods, and also starting with a couple that is going to meet another couple, but clearly are in a bad place, which gives you so much more room to play with certain things. Because once we reveal that Renee has not even asked about her friend, so why would I don't know what importance the audience needs to think that of her, because it just doesn't jive. Even if they aren't getting along, she would have asked about Valerie, I think. Or another Canadian film about lesbians in the backwoods, Vic plus Flo Saw a Bear by Denis Cote, which is a much different kind of film.
A couple more thoughts. I feel like this film would have worked better for me if it had the vibe of that movie, The Hunt.
Sure, the Gillespie film.
Or
Gillespie.
sort of one of those like French art house horror films like High Tension, Sheitan, Martyrs, Inside. It's just it doesn't have a vibe. I think the acting is good, but it feels very straightforward, very basic. Then the final shot, which kind of reminded me of those French films I mentioned, is where the survivor, or in this case the survivors, Val and Renee, they get to they crawl out of the woods and they get to the road, and then a truck is approaching and they flag it down, and then two guys who look just like the people who tried to kill them take them into the truck and then drive away, and we just presume that they're safe, but we don't know. Maybe they're part of this clan. Even that's not established. Did they get to safety? Mm-hmm. And I don't need to know all the things, but I feel like this film just appealed to such a basic level of oh, these straight people hate gay people and they're just killing them. Something need I need a little bit more to get in on this. Otherwise, it's just
it's like that Dave Franco film, The Rental, as well. Oh, and by the way,
which that film worked better for me.
Only after that twist, though, because the characters are really obnoxious leading up to that point.
That's true.
These kind of do have... I do like Tommie-Amber Pirie as Renee, and Sarah Allen as Valerie, I think, give good performances. I just think they're kind of underutilized. But yeah, The Rental with Dave Franco, and... what I was going to correct myself on, The Hunt, I believe, is directed by Craig Zobel.
Lastly, I feel I don't know how to word this, but to me, it's kind of offensive that they just take these white people, put them in camo, and they like to hunt, and all of a sudden they're the bad guys. I don't like that equation.
Again, there needs to be a little more finesse, because otherwise that's what makes it feel exploitive.
Yeah, and then the people they're killing are attractive white people.
That too.
How there been a black trans woman. I feel like that would make sense in 2021 that she's under attack, but
I think because that's where we were joking, this get out for gay people, but these kind of villains who just hate for hate's sake, I feel like they'd be diversifying their kills. It wouldn't just be because how many gay people are really trying to go up there?
Right, because they have a huge community watching. They're getting thousands of views, and we see that they've done it to multiple people, because it looks like the screen is showing at least 6 different kills. Yeah, how many gay people are...
I think that's where it falls off when we learn that, for me, because what's creepy to me is when people do things in private that no one knows about and for their own private pleasures, and to me that's terrifying. That's doing it for the sake of really eradicating...
I feel bad because this video is long of us just talking about how we don't like this movie.
Well, I think as queer people, it taps into... there's a trigger effect there, but I appreciate that it's there. I'm getting a little tired of all these films like The Retreat and The Rental. Can we get back to a time when titles are...
Oh boy, here we go. Well, on that note, meaningful? What would you give this film?
2.5 out of 5.
I would give it 2.5 out of 5 as well. Thank you.